Joining us now to talk about the health care bill and what's come out of the Senate is our friend Betsy McCaughey, founder of the Committee to Reduce Infectious Deaths, a patient advocate. Check out her website at defendyourhealthcare.us. That's U.S. And Betsy, thank you for joining us again today.
Well, I'm glad to join you, and especially right now because I have the Senate Finance Committee bill right here on my desk.
I hope you didn't get a slipped disc from lifting it.
That's right. Well, I'm lifting it in thirds. It's in three big binders because it now totals 1,502 pages. And you know that when legislation is that big, it's full of pork barrel spending, exemptions for members of Congress, and other things that no one wants the public to see.
Well, have you been able to wade your way into that by now?
I am pouring through it right now and comparing it with the plan that was unfortunately approved by the Senate Finance Committee just several days ago. And the indications are that this bill will eviscerate Medicare.
Well, that's exactly what we want to talk to you about. Betsy McCaughey, ladies and gentlemen, you may remember, she has this irritating habit of reading these bills that come out, and sometimes she seems to be the only person in town. She has been demonized because of that, and we can talk about the so-called death panels and so forth later. But, slowly but surely, her worst detractors acknowledge that, well, yeah, maybe this, that, and the other, and she's really changing the form of the debate that's going on in this country right now. So I'm delighted that you have addressed this Medicare issue. Tell us what you think.
Well, all of the bills currently being pushed through Congress pay for covering the uninsured, in part with tax hikes. Everyone's heard about those. But also with a $400 to $500 billion reduction in future Medicare funding over the next decade. That's almost a 10% reduction in funding when 30% more people, the baby boomers, will be enrolled in Medicare. Those numbers do not add up, and it's going to mean less access to care. Monday night, I assembled a forum of expert physicians, oncologists, cardiologists, family care doctors, OBGYNs, surgeons, frontline, highly respected physicians who actually treat patients to discuss the impact of this legislation. And I wish that members of Congress were also consulting doctors, because so far in this debate, the doctors have been frequently vilified but seldom consulted.
Well, in the first place, can you tell me why AARP is supporting the administration's initiative here when the people they're supposed to be representing are getting hit so hard by this bill?
You know, I wondered that too, and that's why I downloaded their audited financial statements and found out that of the $1 billion or so in revenue they take in every year, over $300 million of it is from selling insurance. So it's understandable that they would want every American forced to buy their products.
Betsy, I would hate to have you on the other side of me when I was trying to get away with something. Yeah, they want a seat at the table. They want, when you see these people walking around here, Washington, AARP, they're not AARP. They're not the millions of people around the country. They're Washington lobbyists. They're part of the community, and they want a seat at the table. And AARP now has become a big business, just like the rest of them.
Yes. Well, when the president invited physicians to the White House for that Rose Garden ceremony on October 5th and handed out white coats to all of them. Unfortunately, the only role for physicians at that event was to applaud. But on Monday night, when I assembled the physicians, they were doing the talking. And it was all transcribed. Their concerns about how they're going to have to choose between what's good for their patients and avoiding a government penalty for providing too much care for patients.
Can you give us an example of kind of what they were talking about?
Well, they're mostly concerned that their hands are going to be tied because under the stimulus bill that's already been enacted into law, signed into law last February, and in each of these bills, in very broad language, protocols on what the government deems cost-effective and appropriate care will be delivered to doctors via computer. And doctors who are not meaningful users of this new system will face penalties, financial penalties, beginning in 2014. So that means that doctors will have to choose between avoiding the penalty or giving their patients the care they actually need under Medicare. And that was the number one concern of physicians. And you can read the transcript of this discussion on the defendyourhealthcare.us website. It is going up today, and next Monday we will be presenting that transcript to members of Congress and appealing to them to stop listening to the lobbyists and start listening to the doctors who actually treat patients.
And now, of course, the AMA is in the game, and I'm afraid they're going to sell out too, because they're thinking about cooking the books up there now. They're talking about it openly, where they'll do a sleight of hand trick where they will cut doctors' reimbursement rates for the public for the purpose of getting the budget number and getting a CBO number, and then turn around separately in another piece of legislation and put it back in. And
yes,
and if
a lot
the doctors,
of Chicago arm twisting going on.
Yeah, and the doctors are kind of, I shouldn't say doctors, same thing with ARP. The AMA is up there basically saying, just give us back that, in another piece of legislation and we'll be good boys and girls.
But they don't represent doctors.
No, they don't.
Only a small fraction. And in fact, most physicians are more concerned about their inability to provide care. When the president addressed the nation on September 9th at the joint houses of Congress, he didn't say one good thing about American medicine, not one. But I'm in hospitals almost every day, and I see doctors and nurses literally rescue patients from the brink of death. A man diagnosed with prostate cancer in the U.S. has a 99.3% chance of surviving it. It's not a death sentence here. But in Europe, almost 1 out of every 4 men diagnosed with prostate cancer will die from it.
Well, as they're dying, they can be satisfied that they're not having to pay quite as much for their treatment. Betsy McCaughey, thank you very, very much. Stay on this.
Thank you.
We want to talk again. Thanks a lot.